Okay, so welcome to the database training. I think you guys can all see right now is my email. I'm going to change this to the Dixon website. So I'm going to log out just so you can see the main page to log in. So here it is, username, password, very simple. Log in. So the database website is login.dixonchallenge.com, as you can see right here. Okay. So my page is going to be the RM page, but most of what you'll need, you'll see through anyways. And so we're going to go through what the database has to offer, what an event page is, and we're also going to go through the calling mode system, so you guys have an understanding of how the whole system works for you when you're jumping into calls. So the first thing I'm going to do, at the top here, you have RM calling mode, events, inventory, personnel, territories, My Dixon. Now, what I have in here might be slightly different from yours. I do invite you to go check out any of the stuff in here if you haven't done that yet. So anything that you have access to, go look at it. Go see what is available for you to use when you're in there. So right now I'm going to go to events. Now we have events in progress. I'm just going to click this for now because I want you guys to see an event page. This is just a list of events in this particular territory, which is Crystal Springs. So we'll just open this one up here. Okay, so this is an event page. This is what you'll see every event in the database. Any call that you have, you will be able to access this full page of the event. Now, this contains a lot of information, and this is what you're going to work through most of the time when you're in calling mode. So we're going to start from top to bottom. So here you have your search bar. Very simple. If you get an email or you have, as you can see, Justin, you're right here. I've looked you up. So if you have anything you're looking for, someone called you back, you have an email, whatever the case may be, you can put it in there in your search bar, and it will provide you what you need, whether it's through an event, orders, course, notes, or reps. You can find a bunch of information here, search your bar, and then you're going to have options that come down. So that's the first part, very simple. Over here we have the tournament number. So if by any chance you get onto a call and you're trying to talk about something with me, this is what I want you to send me. This is the tournament number. So if you're like, oh, this event, blah, 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 we need to look at this, or can you check this out for me? I'm not sure what to do. Copy paste me the number of the event, send it to me in an email, and then we can go from there. So this is a great way to just identify all the events that we have. So we'll keep going. These are major buttons. I'm going to show you how these work and what to do with these. Save changes. As we make any changes, it's pretty self-explanatory. Informational email right here. You can find this. I'm going to click on it so you can see. This is once you've talked to someone and they want to get information on the on-course challenges, mostly. You can copy paste this section right here, okay? And then open it up in your email, compose, throw it right in here, and then you have your text. You don't have to write anything out. Make it really simple and saves you a lot of time. So I'm going to delete this for now. And we're going to go back here. So this is the follow-up page again. So we're going to close this out. But here, just know that you can find this as an easy access, okay? We're going to keep going this way. So over here we have last year. I actually had to, I pointed this out this week. I talked to someone in our conference call. She said, I can only see 2 years, so I didn't know that we were there in the past season, in the past, 2 years ago. I said, well, you can actually see it if you go to last year's event. So right now we're in the 2019 event, okay? And if we go down to the notes, you only see 2 years. So you see 2019, as you see here, and then you'll have 2018. If you need to see beyond that, or if you see that, it will happen sometimes, oh, well, the POC was unhappy with our results when we were there, or whatever the case may be, but you can't see it. You go to last year. This will provide you with the 2018 event, and then you'll be able to see, oh, well, not in this case. In this case, it got created in 2018. I didn't realize. So you can't see it right now, but normally you would see the year beyond that, and then if you keep going, you can see beyond until, you know, the first year it got put into the database. So we're going to go back to next year. Next button, create future. I'm not going to click on it right now, but if you were to speak to someone, let's just say you talk to John here, and he tells you, yeah, we're not having the event this season, but please give me a call in February next year because we will be hosting it next season, and I would like to have a call from you. So Peter's your button right here. So let's just say John, you know, says we're not having the event this year, but we are having it next year, and I would like for you to give me a call in February. So you would mark this particular event as not wanted, which I will show you. I'll allow Peter, which I will show you later on how to get that done. But what you're going to do is to click it, no, and then create future. It's going to create it for 2019. For 2020. And then once you're in the 2020 event, you can go into your follow-up date and mark a follow-up for February 2020 and save your details right here, and then you'll be all done. So that's an example on how to use Create Future. Peter, you're in. Can you hear me now? Maybe not. I guess I'll have to listen to the recording. Okay, so we're going to keep going. New custom order. So this, I will click on it now, but we will get back to this at the end. It's going to be the last part. So I'm going to click on it just so you can see what this is. This is part of all the new options that we have with custom products. So I'll open up this flyer right here. Basically, this is what this includes: the golf balls, all the logo items that we have, all the hole-in-one items that we have. So I'm going to keep this open, but I'm going to go back here. So in here is where you would create any orders that you want, any insurance products. So I'm going to go back to the main page again. Like I said, we'll come back to this later in more detail. The main page is back. Okay. Now, when you are talking to anyone or you're in an event page like this page, you always have automatically the Dixon Challenge included right here. You see this tab right there, Tournament Info, Dixon Challenge. It comes automatically with all events. If you are booking the challenges, as you know, we always book the par 3 and the par 5 together. Where you would add the par 5, which is called the Aurelius, as you probably know now, you would click it right here and add it right there. So that's going to reissue it. And now you have the event created here as an Aurelius event. Same thing for the Legend Shootout, which is the third option that we can do on course for them. So these are the 3 on-course options. So you can keep adding. You can also add multiple of Dixon or multiple of Aurelius. You would do that if you have a morning and an afternoon shotgun, as an example. Normally, it will be just one of each, but it will happen. You'll see multiple sometimes. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Under here, very simple. This first section here, until you see the line right there, this first section is all about the event details. So where it's at, as you can see, it's all marked. Okay, so you have the date, the name right here, the golf course. You can click down the golf course if you need to change any of these. So you can pick whatever. A lot of people change, so you have many options. If it changes to a territory you don't have access to, or a region you don't have access to, just send me again this event number and I'll have it changed for you. Okay. If you wanted to look at the golf course information, you have a little option right here to open this up. This actually will show you on the map where, let me move this out of the way, where this golf course is particularly. No, I can't because the buttons are in the way. Okay, so here you go. So you can see, you know, what is around it and where it's situated in the region. Okay, again, you have more details here. Who is my primary contact at this particular golf course? They don't always have this information, but you always have the address and any notes. If you have any issues with some golf course, it's good to write it down for anybody to know. Some golf courses will not allow us on the course, so there can be some issues sometimes. If there are, just make sure that you put it in the notes and that you do any according, details to what needs to be said or done about it. So I'm just going to close this back down. Go back to the main page. Okay. Event information. This will usually kind of get done on its own, but you will need to sometimes make sure that it's clicked to updated. I'm going to give you the reason behind this, but just know that this has a relationship with the amateur endorsement package, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this. Lead source is basically where this event was found. The charity is here. Any details that you have, you adjust, you change. Estimated player count. This is very, very important if you are to book events. If you're just talking to people, you don't quite get the information right off the bat, that's okay. But if you are booking the event, it's very important that you do fill out this player count, because it's important that we know that we're, helping an event that at least has 30 people. So you could do the whole pitch and end up with 15 people, and you're like, oh, that's not really something we can do. So just make sure you know how many people are in the event. Entry fee, not necessary. It's always good to have, especially now because we're doing more consultation work. So it's always a good idea to have the entry fee in there. If you don't get it, it's not a big deal. If you have it, put it in. Event website. This is often a link. It's not always there, but it will commonly be there. And what this is a link to where this was found, or a link to their website or things like that. So this particular one is an event from Facebook, so we could get some information here. Also, it can be good to see the link if you have any of these contacts that aren't good anymore. Like this particular one, say we don't have a phone number for either of these contacts. So you could always look at the link quickly, see if there's any new information on there, or if you have more updated information on there and use that. That could come in handy. So we keep going. Further here, we have follow-up dates. Very, very practical, very important. So this follow-up date you will use very often, and it's important to know when you use it and when not to use it. So the follow-up date, as an example, when you're in caller mode, which again we'll see later, if you leave a message, you don't need to open it. You don't need to click a follow-up date for any of that. The database and the system of caller mode will be doing that on its own for you. So if you called today, depending on the urgency of some calls and how the whole system is set up, you might be giving them a call back in 2 or 3 weeks or in a month, but you don't have to set a follow-up for all events. The only reason you want to do a follow-up is if we were today to speak to John right here, okay, and John says, I love everything that you guys are doing. Send me some information. I have a committee meeting next Friday, and I would like you to give me a call the next Monday so we can talk about it. Okay, so if that's the case, open it up. Next Friday, let's just say it was the 15th, we'll put it for the 18th, and there you go, you have your follow-up date. Okay, again, anytime you make changes that you want to be sure are saved, you can save changes. You can click multiple times this button throughout your conversation if needed. But for the moment, we're going to clear it, and it's going to show, again, how we would clear this. So you just click the button right there, and then save changes, and it will clear your follow-up date. All right. We're going to keep going. Deleting tournaments. This is to be used with caution. If someone does not want us at their event, that doesn't mean that we want to delete the tournament. It would mean that we just want this particular challenge to be marked as no. In this case, we would go here, challenge wanted, right there, no. Okay, that's what you would do. But if you call John and John says, oh, I'm getting too old for this, I want to retire, nobody decided to take it over, last year was our last year, we're not going to be doing this again. Click it down. You really want to delete this, it's not going to happen. So not a recurring event would be the correct one to choose here. Sometimes they're duplicate events, duplicate events. Very often, I find needs. So if you start seeing names or people that start blending in, you're like, I feel like I've called these people. I've seen this before. You can do a quick search, see if there is a duplicate event. It happens. Okay, so you can do that if that's the case. Again, choose one of these, and there will be a pop-up. Actually, I'll do it. You see the pop-up right here. This is just to make sure that you're understanding it. You're deleting this particular event. So it's important to make sure that you're deleting it, and not just marking it as no. So in this case, we're going to cancel, and we're going to move forward. So the next section here, firm and contact. Fairly self-explanatory. All right, the name, email, phone number, which usually we have, and then you can click this down. This is important and it's useful when you print out a results sheet to go on course, or when someone prints out a results sheet to go on course. The first number that prints out is the only number for the moment. It might change, but that's the case right now. So it's always good to put the cell phone number as the first number because then if you're putting an office number as the contact for the event, or someone who's at the event, they don't want to call the office. So obviously, people are not going to be there. So always try and put the cell phone first. It's just practical. And any additional info here, this would be like, sometimes I'll put in there chairman or committee member or someone that relates to the description of this person, or a call from 9 to 5 a.m., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., or something along those lines, just a little detail that helps you know who to call or whatever, if it's needed, all right? If you needed to delete someone, click the X right here. And if you need to move some people around, you can do this. You can use the up and down and bring it back down like this. So again, very simple. Add new contact, okay? We'll just add this so that you can see. Okay, and then you can click here, make new contact as primary contact, okay? All right, Peter's back, I think. All right, so make contact as primary contact. This would bring it to the top of the list. So I'm going to show you, we're going to save this. Okay, and now you see this contact I just created went back to the top. We're now going to delete it because it's not really necessary. I'm going to save again, just as an example of how all of this works. Next section, contacted, yes or no. Usually you don't need to use much of this button at all because your job will be 99% spent in caller mode. What caller mode will do is that if you pick up a call in caller mode, this will automatically be clicked to a yes. So you don't really need to do anything with this. So I'm going to move on. Amateur endorsement package. As you guys should know, I'm sure you know by now, through the training, we do offer as the first option our amateur endorsement package. That includes a gift. It's a gift certificate that includes golf ball, golf hat, divot tool and ball marker, and 50% off everything on our website for a full year. That is our first step, our first offer to everyone that we get to do the pitch with, okay? Very important. If they want this particular amateur endorsement, you click this down to yes, amateur endorsement delivered. You will only click this if you are sending it yourself electronically. And we'll see later on where you can find the PDF version of this so that you can send it by email. The only time you'll do it, if you do it and you're sending it yourself, you will click this. If not, you leave this blank. Now remember earlier I was saying event information updated. This is important when it comes to the amateur endorsement. If this is not clicked updated, the amateur endorsement will not get sent. So it's important that this is clicked to yes when you're clicking the amateur endorsement wanted, okay? Next part of the amateur endorsement, when you're offering it, you will actually need to put in a mailing address. This is a way to kind of close the deal saying, hey, we're giving something to you for free. It's important to not just get the yes from them, but to actually take down a mailing address. of either the foundation or a personal address, whatever works, okay? So fill in the blanks here. Once you're done, I always say, okay, give me a sec. I want to make sure this is all good, and we're going to save some details and go from there, all right? So you can put it in and save changes right here. Next part is the check payable. So the check payable, you're going to use this when you've done your full pitch. Hopefully everybody you talk to say yes. And they say, please send me a check too. And this is where you put the address. Just make sure you don't confuse the amateur endorsements with the address for the check. The check payable also will be an extra line as opposed to here. It's not because you have the name of the person you're sending it to that that's going to be the name on the check. So make sure that you get the information correct down here. The rest is pretty all self-explanatory here. If you were to only put it into this part here, you can click this. And this, if you've already done the amateur endorsement address, it will automatically copy it here. Again, you won't have the check payable made to, so it will be important that you still enter these details right here, okay? I'm going to undo this. All right, the probably most important part of all of this is this last section right here, okay? This last section, you have the notes section. If you need the box to be this big, use it. And if you're going to write into this whole box, write it. It's okay. The more information you have in here, the better it is. If you get an email outside of your caller mode, somebody responds to you, take that email, copy paste it right here, okay? You send an email back, copy paste it right here. Anything and everything that gets said, communicated, or any information exchange that happens is needed and very important to be written in the notes. The reason for that is because we talk to so many people that it's very, very convenient and practical to be able to remember as much as you can, especially now that we're doing consultation services. It's really, really important to know what you've talked about, know what their answers were about what you talked about. So if you're asking them about their sponsorships and their goodie bags and all that stuff, it's good to have all of that in notes, so that obviously you can't remember everything. So if we see an example here of what's been going on in the notes, so that was actually today. Left a message with John, just wanted to reach out. Oh, okay. I send this as an email, but it quick left a message. Hi, John Mel from Dixon Golf. Just wanted to reach out for your event this year. As you know, we still have the on-course games, and we're expanded to some great custom products and hole-in-one sponsorship. I'd love to take a moment and see how best we can help you. Give me a call at your earliest convenience. The reason I sent an email is because there's no numbers. And I remember looking to see if I could find anyone, and I couldn't find any phone numbers. So I sent them an email. I rarely send emails when I don't need to because of these right here. We have automatic emails that go out to all events that have email addresses in our database, which is 90% of them. So you don't want to send email to people unless they have requested emails. If you speak to someone on the phone and you do the full pitch and they're like, yes, this sounds great. Do you have this in writing? I'd love to share it with the committee. Perfect. Send them an email. We'll show you. I'll show you later which email to send and what to use, and for that. Or if you want a quick email, again, informational email is found right here at the top. So let's go back here. Just so you know, we have 3 emails that go out automatically from me, but they might pop up in your caller mode, and they might give you the response in here. Sorry, I have a call. Into voicemail. Okay. So the 5-month email is basically, hey, this is Mel from Dixon Golf. As you know, we are the first makers of the high-performance, eco-friendly golf ball, and we sponsor a number of charity events every year. It's actually, I think it's actually exactly those words that are being said, but it's very close. It says, are you still hosting your event this year, and are you the contact? If so, when would be a good time for us to talk and to see if we can help you help you out. Something along those lines. So that's what the 5-month email says. So don't send any more emails that would be along those same lines or unpersonal because it's already being done. So don't send anything unnecessary. The second email that gets sent, I believe it's 3 months in, it might be 4 months, I have to look on another event. But we have a logo golf ball example, so like a custom order auto email that goes out, which says, hey, you know, we've worked with XYZ charity. This is an example of what they did to raise more money for their event. They sold a sponsorship, logo golf ball sponsorship, and they made this amount of money. This is how much it cost. You know, if you'd like to do the same and raise some more money with some custom logo items, reach out, something along those lines. So that's the third email. And I'm sorry, that's the second email. The third email, if I'm not mistaken, is the, right here, the video. Click here to see video. This video, I encourage you to go check it out. It's basically a little 2-minute breakdown of how things happen on course with the on-course games, with the par 3 and the par 5. It gives you a cool visual. We have some of our RMs in there from the company. A lot of fun and a big surprise on who's hosting it too. So that's great. So you can send that. I think actually that's what's being sent as the third email. So I think this covers the page as a whole. Is there anything you guys would have any questions about or anything you'd like to learn a little bit more about?
No, I'm good to go on that.
Okay. Peter, have you joined us finally?
Yeah, I'm definitely on, but I got half of it, so I'll probably have to go back to probably about 10 minutes of your later on.
No worries. It is being recorded, so you can go back and listen to the beginning.
Perfect.
All right. So from here, I'm going to go to these two right here. So as we were talking earlier, we have these tabs that can be added. It always comes with the Dixon Challenge. You can add the Aurelius Challenge by clicking over here, and same thing with the Legend Challenge. So we're just going to click on these and see a little bit more what's in here. So for this particular challenge, Vernon Little League golf outing, if you had a morning and an afternoon, this one could say morning flight, and then on the second Dixon, you would have afternoon flight or PM flight, whatever you want to call it. So that's why there's a big box and you can write something in here if necessary. If not, it's usually just blank. Time of the event. So when you book an event, it's important that you get the details, obviously. So you always want the date, correct date, okay, and correct time. The event time is actually the shotgun time, and it's important that we know that. I always, if you book any events, I am also always going to be confirming those events. So if you make mistakes, I'll probably catch them, but it's always good to have the correct information right off the bat. So if the shotgun starts at noon, you click noon, you put it in there, and you're all set, all right? Did it cancel? Usually you won't have to deal with any of this. If you were to become a TM, you would. Let's just say this event got booked, all of a sudden it gives you a call, say, hey, I think we're going to cancel the event. There's not enough people. Or the morning of it is pouring and nobody's going to show up, they're canceling it. If that's the case, you click whichever option you need here. Not enough players, weather, reps fail to show up. We never want to see that, but it might happen. No reps available, POC declined, tournament rescheduling for next year, or other reason. Make sure that other is really something out of these things. Other reasons is very, very rare, so don't use this because they use these details to see what average or why things cancel on an average. So they use this data for the company information. Rep, you don't need to do any of this. If you were a TM, you could click down and assign some reps. They are assigned from best results to lower results usually, but at this time of year, I think it matters because nobody's on the books for any event at all. Notes for rep. As an example, you talk to someone and he says, I have 120 people on my event. I want to make sure everything moves fast. I like everything you're doing, but I don't like the 2 shots off the tee box. I don't want you guys to do that. but everything else is good. All right, not a problem. We can adjust. We made these up. We can change them. So you would want to write the notes to the rep right here. So even though you're booking it, if you're making this conversation with this person, you need to write it down, because I might be confirming, but he might not tell me that, on the phone. So it's important for you to write any details that go out to representatives. You might be putting it in the notes for the event, but it's still good for the rep to know. This will print out with their result sheet. So in this case, we'd write only one shot off the tee box as an example. Okay? Now, the most important, most fun button that we have, challenge wanted, yes. Okay? This is where you book your event. This is where you get the money for your bookings. This is where your bookings count. Challenge wanted, yes. Or challenge wanted, no. It happens. But either way, if you want it yes or no, it's right there. If you don't talk to someone, you don't need to do anything with this. If you don't reach out or they don't confirm or actually say no, you don't need to click anything. If they're saying that, we can't use you guys this year, but, maybe reach out next year, we'll have a new committee, blah, 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 but we're a no-go for this year. Okay, no-go, you click no, and then you save it. If you click no, this event will not pop up in your call mode again. That's important. It's important to understand this part, because you might write in the notes, oh, no, they don't want us. You're not booking it, which is fine, but it might keep popping up, every 2 or 3 weeks or every month, and you're like, why am I still getting this event? I wrote that they didn't want it. It's because you need to click it to no and then confirm that. That will get it out of caller mode. All right? Estimated players in flight, very simple. Again, if you have, like we were saying here, an AM and a PM event, it's just a way to separate them. So you might have AM 100 people, PM 100 people. So that's just a little side note. Close by, you don't need to do any of this. Hole assign, you might use that. If they know where they want the reps to be on course, you can put this in. Par, well, it's pretty simple. If it's on a par 3, because we're booking at Dixon, it would be par 3. But for the par 5, as an example, sometimes they put us on par 4. You could do par 4 and let the people know, let the rep know. Tee box, again, it's kind of rare we use this, but this is more on-course stuff. All right. If any of you are reps for the season, which I hope you all are at some point, you will need to use these two things right here. Well, you get it. TM confirm with rep. Actually, that would be my job, not your job. But this one here, rep confirm with POC. You cannot print your result sheet to bring with you on the course to the event if you don't click this to confirm. And you can't just click it. You actually have to go and call the person and say, hey, my name is Justin. I'm going to be working your event at Black Bear Golf Club on May 12th. I just wanted to confirm the details. I have a 12 p.m. shotgun, which means I'm going to be there an hour before that, so I would be there at 11. If there's any issues, give me a call back or whatever. But you've confirmed, so you're going to click confirm here. And once that's done, you can click result sheet right here. I won't bring up anything. As you can see, you can only print within 7 days, but you would see a result sheet here. Normally when it's there, you scroll to the bottom and you can print. You'll have a print button down there. And that's how you print your result sheet. Same thing with the Aurelius Challenge. The exact same details are here. And again, each person that works a challenge will print out the result sheet. If you're working a par 5 and a legend, which we don't have set up right here, but if we were to book that, you have to print both. I think this covers this part. Any questions on these?
Nope, not from Peter.
No, sounds good.
Okay. We have the pros already. Okay, so let's go to custom orders. All right. So, as you know, we now offer logo products and hole-in-one products. I won't talk too much about how to present these. I'm just going to show you how to use the database to order these and to get some invoices out or some orders created. So let's just say, Justin, you're a POC. You're like, yes, I'd love to order logo golf balls. I want the win ball, that's $14.95. Logo comes in automatically, and I need 20 dozen of these for my event. Quick calculation, if you want to understand how to know how many dozens, pretty simple. Calculate a sleeve per player. So if they have 100 players, would be 300 divided by 12. That would be the number of dozens that you need. Let's just say you need 12 in this case. We're going to click Add Item. And here you go. Your item is here. If they want multiple items, you just keep adding to this, and this is just going to keep growing as a list. Over here, in this section, before you can create a real order or send any invoice, you need to have a shipping address. You need to have all these details filled right here, including the in-hand date. Very important. It won't give you any details or anything until you click this. So you have to click an in-hand date. The reason for that is because if you're within too short of a timeline, you do have extra shipping charges. So they can't give you a shipping price if they don't know when you're trying to have it shipped. So make sure that this is clicked to the date where they want it to have it in hand. Sorry. As a side note, when we book events, a lot of the on-course challenges events, well, all of them, will only be paid when the event actually happens. When it comes to logo products, custom products, it gets paid when the items ship. So if you want to make some earlier money, have them ship it earlier. So just a little trick here. If you want to start banking earlier than later, you can definitely do that. Then you would update the shipping, and then once this is updated, you're going to have some buttons down here that are going to pop up, all kinds of different colors. The one you're probably going to use the most is send. I think it says send invoice to client. You also have a box that says pay by credit card, pay by, I think it says pay by check. There's a few different boxes, but most of the time you're going to send an invoice first. So you would click that. When you send an invoice, it automatically gets sent to you also. You have it in your inbox as well. I'm trying to have the company make sure that this page opens up as a new page so that we can go back and forth between, the page and the custom order, so that we can see the details of the event, but that's not, it's not done yet. So we're going to keep going. So this page here is for all the logo products that we have. And again, I'm not going to go into the details of the products. That's training for more in the pitch part, so we'll skip that for now. But insurance products are here. As you know, I'm going to click here. We have the lifetime experiences. We have the privilege cards, and we have the cash prize shootout. So these are the options here: shootout, American, lifetime experiences. You pick and choose them, whatever this is. If you get 3, you get the 4th one free. For the custom logo products, if you get 2, you get the free tote bag for free. I believe that you had to put it in, but the last time I did an order, it actually automatically added it up. So just make sure they're always doing some new things and some new updates to make things better. So some things might change, but in a rule of thumb, you'll see all this eventually. Okay, right up here, custom product. If you click on this, this is what it's going to open. So when you're on the phone, I always have this open. I always have this page up when I'm doing my pitch. I have my event page and my custom product page, because if they're asking for prices, if they're asking for anything, you have all the details right in front of you. And it also gives you an idea of what you have to say about them. If you're seeing the shirt, you're going to mention the shirt. If you're seeing the ball marker, you're going to mention the ball marker. And once you see the tote bag, you're going to be reminded to let them know that if you buy 2 items of any kind, you get the tote bag for free. So always keep this close and handy. If I go back here again, sponsorship flyer example. You might be talking to people as you start doing more and more consulting, where when you're trying to sell these products, I actually always tell them, I'm not trying to sell you these, but I would like you to consider offering them as sponsorship. The reason for that is that you can get money out of the sponsors. You can fill up the goodie bags for free without having to go out of pocket for anything, and you're making money on all of it. So if they want examples of sponsorship or they're not sure how to do it, you can say, hey, I have examples on how you can use these items in your sponsorship. Would you like to receive it? If they would, you just click here, open this up, and here's an example. Now, it's good to let them know that this is a Word document, so you can click Enable, and you can actually change any of these. You can change the titles, you can change the amount, change any of this. They don't want this. They don't want to give it back. You just take it out. So all of these things can be adjusted to their needs, and it's good for you to let them know that they can do that. You can send these. I usually have this actually already saved in my computer so that if I need to attach it to an email, I already have it, so I don't need to download it every time. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is right here. This is new. Frequently asked questions. I invite you to read all of these on your own time, because there are a lot of details. And again, I don't want to go into the details of all the items and the little ins and outs and requirements for the hole-in-ones and all of that. But do read it, and we'll have another training on this if needed, or we can talk about it on some calls. But go in there and go check it out. Okay, so I think we have covered most of what you're going to use on a daily basis. The last thing I want to add is this right here. It says RM calling mode, but yours is going to say TC calling mode. I want to show you how this looks. So, well, you won't see this, but you'll see this here. This is what calling mode looks like. When you call an event, you are timed. You are in caller mode for a certain amount of time, and everything gets logged. If you want to see right here, I was making some calls earlier today. So I have 19 calls, 11 answered, 9 messages, no bad numbers, no closes today. Time spent in caller mode, 1 hour and 19 minutes. So anytime you're in there, it gets added up. The reason for that is that we have incentives, all kinds of different things that happen with the timing of caller mode. We also have the draw program where if you work your 25 hours a week, you can get paid for those hours, and you can pay it back during the season. So all kinds of different, things that will be practical on knowing the time that you're in caller mode. So caller mode is a system that you don't need to think. It's all automatic. It's all spelled out for you, and it will give you everything you need to move one call after the other, which means you don't need to look for anything, you don't need to think about anything. You just move from one call to the other. Always look at the top right here. You're going to get used to seeing these colors and seeing what these colors mean, but always read them, and once you're getting the hang of it, you'll know what the colors mean. These, I believe, are always there. The yellow one here, this means that there was a follow-up date that's set up, either by you or either by an auto email that was sent back, anything along those lines. So in this case, it has a yellow line, which means it's a follow-up. Again, you'll have all the basic information about the event page, like when you're in the full event page, you have all this here. Phone number, you're going to usually call the first one you see up. And then as you're calling, you're going to click picked up, left message, bad number, or skip and call tomorrow. Any of these options are good. If you click picked up, you're actually going to open up to the main, I'll click it right now. You're going to go to the main event page that we've been going through previously. So when you're in here, you have as much time as you want to do what you need, to do your full pitch, to put in information, whatever you need in here, you are not in time constraints. Your time is still being calculated for your caller mode time as a general thing. I'm going to click next call, but let's follow up so I don't lose this one. And this would be the next call right here. So the next call again, if you had just left a voicemail, it would come to the next one automatically. If you open it up, you have to go in there, save changes on what you've done, and then as you saw, click next call at the top right here. You can also exit caller mode right here, and you can go to recent calls right there. So if I get a call back right away from someone who missed my call, I can go to recent calls and see who I just missed, and then you don't have to get out of caller mode to talk to someone you have tried reaching out to just earlier. So you can click on the event you were just in, it will open up, and then you get back to call mode. So we're going to click start next call and go back. Here's a new call. Now, as you saw before, there was a big red line that showed up right here. Please select an option. This means that, hey, you've spent enough time trying to call this person. If this is not working, you need to pick an option. Either they've picked up and you're talking to them. If that's the case, click picked up and open up the full event page. If you're leaving a voicemail, then leave a voicemail. And don't get rushed or stressed because that red line is coming up. It's just letting you know, hey, now you've passed a certain time, you will get kicked out. I think it's like a minute after it shows up, and a minute is plenty of time. You have plenty of time to do what you need to do in there. But it's just basically, hey, pick an option and see where we're going from there. Now, before you're calling anybody in this caller mode, always make sure you read all the notes, because it might tell you that it's a follow-up call, or it might tell you like this, that it's nothing, it's just an event we need to call, we have it in a database, and we've never had any contacts with them other than the automatic emails that go out, like this one. So if that's the case, you know that you're starting the pitch from scratch, and you're going to introduce yourself as Dixon Golf, and you heard about their event. You'd like to hear more, see if you can support them by sponsoring their outing. And this would be, what you would do. You click picked up and you go in there. But whatever the notes are here is where you leave from. So make sure you read all or most of the stuff in there so you know where you're catching up from and you know where to start back. There's a lot of people you have been talked to, or you've talked to them a few times, and you want to remember why you're calling them or why you have a follow-up to call them. So very simple, again, in this concept. Do you guys have any questions about the caller mode system?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Nope.
Pretty straightforward. Good. I like to hear that. So as you see right here, submit an option.
I'm going to have to get used to that.
I'm sorry?
That I'm going to have to get used to submit an option.
Yeah, but as you see, I've been talking and we've been doing all this, and you've had multiple, ample time, I should say, to pick an option. Sometimes, you have to call someone and then they're making you wait and you're on hold and they're transferring you. And, if you're feeling like you're getting tight on time, just click picked up. It's not the end of the world. But as long as you leave in the notes that, okay, I haven't spoken to anyone, actually left a message for blah, 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 to call me back. And then you save the notes and then move on to the next call. So it will take, a good amount of time before you get kicked out. It's mostly if, you end up deciding to go to lunch and you forget that you're in caller mode or you didn't click out of it, then it will, kind of kick you out on its own. So that's the reason. Again, it's still here. You have plenty of time to do what you need to do in here before selecting an option. This little bar here sometimes comes in handy if you want to, if you have multiple people in the list and you've called 5 times the first contact, and you're like, okay, well, this is not working. Let me call contact number 2. If you, put in, well, I reached out to contact number 2, and then you can click left message, and you'll know that, this will be added to the notes without having to open up the full event and have to write it in. And this is what happens when you get kicked out of caller mode. So you just go back to an event list. And then if you want to go back in, you would click right here, again, caller mode, and go back into it. Now, just to be sure, I want to make sure that all of you guys have gone to my Dixon training documents, training and communication, spring training registration. Make sure that you are all registered for spring training. If you're outside of spring training season and you're listening to this recording at another time, make sure you talk to me or your TM or your RM about watching the spring training for the previous year or setting up something so that you can watch one of them before you start. Have you guys registered for it yet?
Yes.
Okay. I
Not
can actually see
registered,
it, but
I'm not registered, but there is definitely that one in Newark, correct, on the 27th?
yes.
Okay, so
So
yep,
this
I
is
just still have
the
to.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
So right now we have all these people attending in the New York one. So yeah, Peter, you're missing. You're gonna have to click that in. All right. Well, I think that covers the training. I will stop this here, but we will obviously talk a lot more about the calls and about some details about challenges. Whatever you guys need as information, just know that I'm always here to help. We are going to have regular, almost daily calls quickly in the morning, maybe a 15, 20, 30 minute if needed, maybe a little longer in the beginning, but just to get everybody started and answer any questions you might have as you're starting this, every morning or every day, whatever time you have to, put into this. So I'll send that out, and we'll touch base, outside of this recording, but we'll definitely go through some details together. You guys are all good?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Well, we're going to hang this up, and if you guys want to talk, we'll just call you guys, call each other outside of this conference call, and we'll go from there. Thanks for being on the call.